Good guys, my name is Lord Tomo. Welcome again to another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collector review. As you know, I'm Lord Tomo. Good old blue stay Sonic the Hedgehog, throw him away and bring out the bad boys. Dun, dun. That's my theme. I hope you enjoyed it. Took me a couple of hours to create. So for those who may or may not know, this is none other than Storm the Albatross. He's part of the trio of the Bumbling Rogues, and they first appeared in Sonic Riders. For those who may not know, there are trios. There's Storm the Albatross, there's Wave the Swallow, and of course there is Jet the Hawk. Phenomenal characters. If you want to check out the reviews for Jet and Wave, you can definitely check them out on my channels. But let's talk about this guy, and I want to say this straight out of the bat. I absolutely love this plush in so many ways. Of course, there's a few things that I would have preferred, the preferential differences that I would recommend. It does not take anything away from this plush. It's just things that I would have loved to see, opposed to, you know, them not adding it. But let's go down to the nitty gritty and go through the ins and outs of this plush, because I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me ramble on too much. So already, if you were to pause this right now and just stare into Storm's eyes, you will see that he's staring into your soul. Quite freaky in its own right, but it is what it is, and it works kind of. Now his eyes and a few other pieces, which I will get to, are eye impressed, as in they're kind of like a sticker based residue, and when they basically pressed it on. Now of course I would imagine if you overwash this or even use this or ever play with this, those details will go over time. But of course if you're just more or less a displayer, or someone who just collects it and just displays them like what I do, hey, that's totally fine, that's what I do, then it would work perfectly fine. So his eyes are awesome. Everything else in his eyes is material based, including his red bit, which I think is phenomenal. It does really encapsulate the actual face that is Storm the Albatross, of course. Now if you look closely at his beak is well sculpted and well shaped. Very phenomenal attention to detail. And of course if you look at it, you can even see like a somewhat curvature happening on here. And of course, now this is just a preferential what I would prefer, preferential request, of course, if that is that anything, which doesn't take anything away from this plush itself. It's just what I would like to see. I would have liked to have like a little smirk of sort on the side, just to give it a little more character. Like I said, it doesn't take anything away from it. It's just what I would love to see. Of course, at the very top you have, of course, his binoculars, which only connects to the top half of his eyelid. Doesn't go around or anything, which isn't bad. So his eyelids themselves are material based. Now you'll see this over here, it's not fully enclosed, as in doesn't cover it. Now of course the binoculars themselves don't come off, so there's no real need to fill that in. I would have preferred they did it, but that's just me. Now of course, you know, making these sort of things will cost money, so I guess I wouldn't say it's cutting corners. It's just, where would you need it? Like, would you ever display this flipped on the opposite direction? No. Now these little materials at the top, they are eye impressed as well. Same thing applies to the others. It actually adds more character to the actual plush itself, having this binoculars, plus it's part of its design, so it's awesome. Now I would like to make note about his actual eyebrows, or eyelids, whatever you want to call them. They're not actually stuffed, they're just a material that's basically plastered around. Now that isn't bad, it adds character, it makes it pretty unique, and I guess if you really wanna, you can make it look very surprised, like oh my god, or you can make him very angry, like damn. So I don't know if it holds its position. Let's hold it. It does actually, it does hold its position to an extent, but yeah, let's make him badass mad Storm. Of course that's that, which is pretty impressive. So his head sculpt is pretty impressive. Now he does have his obligatory little string. If you want to hang him, it's totally up to you, it's optional. It's not always nice to have that as an option. Now let's get to the back of his head. So you have his, what would argue as feathers, the feathers on the head, kind of like the dreads on the head, which is pretty awesome. Extremely well stuffed, and it's also material based on either pivot point, and just attention to details as he basically makes triangles effects on either ones. Superb, love it, and extremely well stuffed. That's always a major plus when it comes to plushes, simply because you don't want flimsy little plushes and it just looks stupid. Of course you have his necklace. Now his necklace doesn't move, it's actually stitched on, and it's, as you can tell, it's pretty basic in terms of its design and how it was actually created, material based and whatnot. It's not bad at all. To be honest, it works well. Of course some people will argue, well, let's have a rule pendant, blah blah blah, but the thing is, it works. Like, you don't need it. and of course plushes are mostly material based anyway, so this is extremely well designed. I would have preferred if it wasn't stitched on, so you can move it around if you so desire, but it is what it is. Now you have his big fat balding body, extremely well stuffed. Oh, you have no idea. And of course you have more attention to detail, which is his little chest feather hairs, which is on either side, which is superb. So everything is part of the mold except these little bits. And of course at the back, which basically flingers through over at the back, you of course have more of the, I never knew what this was, collar feathers, I would imagine. So there's that. And his body's so fat and well stuffed. I absolutely love that in this plush. Of course you have his tail, extremely phenomenal, well designed once again. Now it isn't stuffed completely, it is purely material based, and if you look closely you can see like there's I don't know what material it is. I'm gonna assume that it's like a hard plastic opposed to cardboard, because cardboard will destroy everything. So I'm gonna assume that it's hard plastic, given its unique form in terms of how it is. It's not bendable, it's not movable. I would have preferred it to be, but it doesn't take anything away from it, so it's phenomenal in that sense. Now of course you have his hands. Both arms and hands are exactly the same in terms of mold, with the stitching insinuating his fingers. Phenomenal. And if you look on the side, you have of course more attention to detail, which is great, and his gloves are so well stitched and so well designed, which is phenomenal. Now this is, I would probably say it's a drawback, simply because in comparison, this character is in the line with Vector the crocodile. If you haven't seen that review, check it out. They're massive, they're posable, and they're absolutely insane. This one, unfortunately, is stitched on. You could cut it off. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't, and it would basically give him more movability. Unlike figurines where you can give him poses, plushies you really can't. But I never understood why they actually basically stitched it onto the pivot of the body. For example, the elbow on both sides is literally stitched on either side, so I never understood why that's that. I guess it works well as a standalone pose, and if you were to sit him down, it works well. It's just a preference. You can cut it if you want to. I'm not, simply because you can't really pose them much other than the basics when it comes to plushes, so it is what it is. And of course you have his shoes, his boots, whatever you want to call them, with his socks. Awesome, great attention to detail. I keep using those words simply because when things are so spot on, it is what it is. And just to really drive it home, there you go. These are all I'm impressed, by the way. So yeah, wear and tear, you know. Rewind if you want to hear that blurb again. So great, phenomenal, absolutely superb in every conceivable way. Just the amount of details that's gone into it. Now of course, one of the major bonuses, that is what it is the actual little tag is on his little hashtag on the side. Great, love it. Of course I always have to bring it up because this is just me and this is what I do. They have the word Sonic the Hedgehog. I guess it's meant to insinuate parents who don't know anything other than Sonic to buy this for their kids. People in the know-how would probably just buy this. I would have preferred the picture of Storm the albatross on it. Now at the actual back you have GE Entertainment. Is it GE Entertainment? Yeah, Great Eastern. Yeah, GE. Yeah, Entertainment. Great Eastern Entertainment, which is over there. Phenomenal. Oh. So overall, this plush is great. I'm gonna push this in every beautiful way. As you can see, it's quite majestic. It will pair well with all your other GE Entertainment plushes in terms of size, including next to Vector the crocodile, which I think is going to look phenomenal. So when I finally have that on display, it will basically have all the big ones at the back and all the smaller ones at the front, which is awesome. What's left? That's the big question. There's a lot of characters I would love to see. A lot of the Metasonic alliterations and variations. If they could pull that off, I would definitely buy every single one. That's just me. I don't know if there's a market for it. I'm hoping there is. I know there should be. Anyway, how much did I get this for? I got it in a pack with other plushes, of course, but it is going to set you back roughly about $35 to $40. A little hefty on the price tag, but due to the size, the amount of stuffing, and the quality of it, I do feel that it is worth it. Honestly, it's totally up to you if you want to throw out that sort of cash. I got this from eBay. I know you can get it from Amazon as far as I'm aware, so eBay, Amazon. But look, it's totally up to you. I think it's worth it personally. It's just, plus it's one of those characters I feel like It's eventually may be rare. It is rarity is 1 star out of 10. You can't purchase it now, but it may be rare simply because it's I feel like it's limited release. I know with the other ones they don't release it as much, so once this goes, I'm pretty sure it's gone for good. Anyway guys, let me know what you think of this plush. I think it's absolutely phenomenal, and when I have it on display and show you guys, I'm sure you will agree even more. Maybe your thoughts on it. Well, what plushies would you personally like to see? I would love to see more Metal Sonics. Anyway guys, thank you so much for checking out this review. Speed on, peace out, until next time.